So you're going on your holidays. You've saved up for ages, you've got everything planned, you're really excited. But what do you do about your plants? Welcome back to the My Slice of Life podcast, friends. I'm Sharon O'Neill and you are still your fabulous wee self. This week, we're talking about something that every gardener has to deal with at some point. You're going on your holidays, but what do you do with your plants? Who is going to look after them? How do you make sure they're watered? There are so many plant issues to think about when you go away. So we're going to have a look today at some of the options you have to deal with these questions. I'm not promising I have all the answers, but I have some ideas for you. If you're wondering why the sound is a little different on this episode, it's because if you caught the first in this new 2.0 series, I don't really know what else to call it, I did tell you that sometimes I'll be taking you out and about with me depending on where I go, and this is one of those episodes. If you want to see where you are, watch the YouTube video. Yes, we have crows and everything. I'm in the polytunnel in the garden, and that's why you're getting all these other noises. So the first thing that I want to suggest that you can do if you're going away is ask somebody. Is there anybody that you know who will come along and water your plants and look after them while you're away on your jolly hauls? Now, we all know this comes with risks, high risks in some cases, because will they overwater? Will they underwater? Will they water at all? Will they just say, yeah, I'll do it, no problem, and then think, gardening, who wants to do that? We know they won't weed. We know they won't deadhead. We know they won't do any of the extra jobs that we would see and just instantly do. But it's an option. However, it does come with quite a lot of risk. And yes, there's also a risk filming in a polytunnel because I've got a bee stuck behind me. And I think he's getting angry. What I want to tell you about is one time we gave our keys to the allotment to a friend who also had an allotment, and we thought, easy, they'll know exactly what they were doing. They were very good, their plot was amazing. So off we went for a week, perfectly happy, thinking, job done, job's a good one. Came back and they said we couldn't figure out what key went into which padlock, so we didn't do anything. For a whole week, nothing was watered. And I had stuff in the polytunnel. I lost tomatoes, I lost cucumbers, I lost quite a lot, and I was a little bit annoyed, but what can you do? So if you are giving instructions to somebody, make them very, very clear so there is no doubt what you want them to do. We also have a timber yard not far away from here, so there will be other noises in the background. I'm sorry, it's just the way it is. And that bee has almost found the door. Now, another option for you is to set up some sort of self-watering system. If it's house plants that you're worried about, a good thing I find that's recommended is laying an old bath towel or a sheet or something in the bath, putting your water in so that that is soaked, and lay your plants on top of it so they're getting the water they need without being drowned. It's quite a good idea, especially if your bathroom gets a lot of light and that's all your houseplants taken care of. Easy. I'm going to come to other self-watering systems in just a minute, but first I want to give you my preferred option when it comes to the garden. I just leave it to nature. I just check the weather forecast. I've got to confess, I check the weather forecast frequently before I go anywhere. And I don't go anywhere very often, but it's a thing. We're always checking the weather, aren't we? And we've had a lot of rain recently, so if you live somewhere like I do, and you look at the weather forecast and you think, there's going to be 3 days of rain, I don't need to worry about it. So it is an option. Have a think, do you really need anybody to come and look after your garden? Maybe you don't. Maybe everything's just going to be fine as left to its own devices. That is my preferred option, if I can get away with it. Now, one technique you might have seen a few people use involves plastic bottles. Now, I have one, which again, if you're on YouTube, you'll see. This is just a little one. But the idea is you cut the bottom off the plastic bottle, a couple of holes or just one hole in the lid. And if you have a large pot that you're really wanting to take care of, things like cucumbers, You know, if you have cucumbers or tomatoes, aubergines, all that kind of stuff, planted in the soil or in large pots in the polytunnel, get a bottle, like I say, 1 or 2 holes in the lid, stick it in beside your plant, fill up the bottle, and the water will gradually run through and water the plants for you. It's probably one of the easiest options for polytunnel if that's something that's going to concern you. So, plastic bottles. Job done. Nice and easy. Another thing I want to mention to you is something which I put on a YouTube video recently, and people might think I've gone mad, but I'm okay with that. And that is, you get the gardening trays to put your pots in. They're either green or black usually. They're not that fantastic or interesting. They're also not very high-sided. So when you want to move your trays, the pots fall over. If you've got them outside, the wind blows them over. You can't even fit that many into the tray, and when you want to water, they don't hold that much water, really, for the number of pots that are going to be in it. My solution? Cat litter trays. No, I haven't gone mad. Trust me, they work. I can't show you a video here, but again, if you look at the YouTube video that I did, if I remember, I'll link to it in here, but it's on my gardening channel. I think it's my last video that would have gone up as this episode goes out. But they hold loads of plants, they're high-sided, nothing's going to fall over. And if you're leaving plants out in the garden, that's important because you need them to stay upright. Again, if it rains, you want them to be able to catch the water, not be falling over on their side and getting nowhere. And the other thing about these that I like is that you can also use that method I talked about of putting sheet or towel in the bottom so that they can hold water. You just put your material on the bottom, give it a good water, sit your plants on top. They're not drowned, but they are watered without you having to do anything else. It's a great system. Cat litter trays. You can thank me later. Now, the other option that you have is to go high tech. And it isn't a huge amount that I'm going to say here because if you know me at all, you know I am complete technophobe. I don't have any, so I can't tell you that much about it, but I have seen people who have these electric systems or battery operated, and they are on a timer, and they've got all these pipes and tubes and everything else set, and it drips out so much water, say every 20 minutes or whatever it is you want. It's a good idea if you can set that kind of thing up, and if you don't mind a bit of tech in your polytunnel. I personally, things like that just confuse me, and I don't really know what I'm doing. So for me, cat litter trays, old sheets and towels, top them up is probably easier. But if that is something that you want to do, say you have a lot of plants to look after, you have absolutely no other way of doing it, check them out. They're not all that expensive. Again, budget is an issue with these things, as with anything tech, but it is an option. Especially if maybe you're not in a position where you can keep going out and checking your polytunnel or going up to the allotment frequently. So at least you know. I'm saying allotment because I'm thinking you'd need a battery to run that, not an electric system. But it is an option. When it comes to these, you can pretty much spend as little or as much as you want. There's something there for everybody. So automatic watering system, I think they would call it. Something like that. Like I say, I'm aware of them. I've seen people use them. Yes, the wind's picking up a little. But is it for you? Maybe it's worth a shot. Now, some other ideas I have for you don't involve tech whatsoever. And the first one is, don't go on holiday. Okay, maybe not that much of a solution, but there are gardeners who just don't go on holiday. I've heard them, the family want to go, and they're like, no, I can't go. I can't leave my plants, especially the people who do the competitions. I think it's really quite a big deal. And farmers, I don't suppose go on holiday much, but I'm talking more hobby people here. Or if you want to find a workaround for that, and the family really want to go on a holiday, go out the season, go later in the year. You might find people aren't as keen as you to go in November, say if you're a British gardener, but it is an option that's open to you. Do you have to go in the summer? It's also dearer to go in the summer, I find, so out of season, you get a cheaper holiday, and your plants don't need looked after. And can you hear that? We've got a light rain and the dog's going mad. But there you go. If you're away, bit of rain, the garden's looked after. Yeah, I'm getting distracted by the rain already. So yeah, maybe you don't need to go at the height of the season. Go later, if at all. And one last option I have for you, and it is a thing now. Hire a plant sitter. Yes, they exist. People will come, if you pay them, to your house and or your garden and look after your plants. Again, I haven't done it. I suppose they're vetted. I haven't looked into this, but I have heard about it. And I can only assume, since it's a business, they're vetted, they've got some sort of credentials. But it's another option if you can spare the cash. So if you have no other options, you don't fancy putting towels and things into your trays, plant sitter. It might be the only thing you can do. So there you go. Bit of a shorter episode this time, but I think it's an important topic to discuss for gardeners, especially when we're coming up to holiday season. I know a lot of you will be going away, and it is a concern for a lot of people. What do you do with your plants? So I hope some of the things I've talked about today will at least give you a few ideas. If you have a different idea, you do something else, let me know in the comments. Seriously, I think with this topic in particular, any ideas that we can share with each other and encourage each other with, it's only going to help. But maybe you're always the plant sitter. Maybe you're the one everybody phones because they know you're a gardener. Let me know. Nobody asks me. Don't know why. My plants are quite good actually, but I don't know why. So with that, and with the rain getting heavier, I'm going to say thank you very much for your company this week. As always, it is very much appreciated. I'll be back next week with something a little different. But until then, you take care of yourself and your plants.